There is a room that has no walls, because nothing has ever needed to keep anything out of it. Light does not enter this room. Light begins here. And standing closer to the throne than any other created thing ever has, or ever will, is a cherub whose beauty has no rival. Wings that catch fire when they move. A body inlaid with every precious stone that will one day be named after him. He does not guard the throne. He covers it. He is, in the plainest sense of the word, the most magnificent thing God ever made. You have heard his name 1,000 times. You picture him wrong. Not red, not horned, not crouched in a cave somewhere far from heaven, plodding in the dark. Picture him instead, standing in the light, because that is where this actually happened. Every fall you have ever heard of, empires, marriages, friendships, happens first in a place no one is watching. This one happened in the throne room of God, and here is the detail you need to hold on to, even though it will not make sense yet. A third of the stars of heaven are about to fall out of the sky, not metaphorically, not eventually. A third. Keep that number. You will need it later, because right now it sounds almost survivable. It is not. This is not a story about a red monster with horns. This is not a legend borrowed from pagan myth to scare children into behaving. This is not a story about evil as some equal and opposite rival to God, locked in a fair fight for the universe. This is a story about the single greatest tragedy in the history of everything that exists. And it began with the most beautiful creature God ever spoke into being, standing exactly where he was supposed to stand. Something changes in him. Nobody sees it happen. That is the part that should unsettle you most. Go back to Ezekiel chapter 28, and you find God speaking to a king. But the words stop fitting a human king almost immediately. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was your covering. No king wore that. No king was called blameless from the day he was created. And then, 4 words that turn the whole passage inside out. Till unrighteousness was found in you. Found. Not placed there. Not built into him from the start. Found. The way you find rot in fruit that looked perfect from the outside. He was the anointed cherub, the one who covers. Above every throne, every dominion, every rank of angel God ever made. And it was not enough for him. Ezekiel says his heart grew proud because of his beauty, and his wisdom was corrupted for the sake of his splendor. Read that twice. The very things God gave him became the things he used against God. Here's what most people miss about what happens next. Isaiah chapter 14 gives us 5 words. We almost never notice are the same word, repeated. I will ascend to heaven. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit on the mount of assembly. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. 5 sentences. Every one of them starts with the same 2 words, and every one of them is aimed at the same target. Not power for its own sake, but the seat that was never his to take. The Hebrew here calls him Hillel ben Shachar, day star, son of dawn. The root the old Latin translators rendered as Lucifer, a name that means light, given to the being who chose to go dark. Sit with that for a second. The most radiant creature God ever made did not fall because he was weak. He fell because he was certain he deserved more than he was given. That is not a monster's flaw. That is a human flaw wearing angel's wings. And it should make you uneasy, because you have felt the smaller version of it yourself. And then, Revelation 12. War breaks out in heaven. Michael and his angels on one side, the dragon and his angels on the other. Not a debate, not a trial, a war. Fought and lost. In what feels like a single verse, they were defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. No negotiation, no second offer. The dragon and his angels are thrown down to the earth. Heaven did not sit back and let this happen. That should comfort you as much as the rest of this unsettles you. Whatever this being became, he did not get to simply take the throne room by default. He was met, and he was thrown out. Notice the pattern, because it is about to repeat. Position first. He had the highest place any created being has ever held. Pride second, not a sudden accident, but a slow decision that he deserved the seat above his own. Expulsion third, not a warning, not a second chance, but a war he lost in a single verse. Position, pride, expulsion. Hold that shape in your mind, because it is about to show up again in a garden you already know the name of. If you have made it this far, you already know this isn't a channel that skips the hard parts of the text. Stay with that kind of study. Subscribe if this is the first time you're here, and tell me in the comments which part of this surprised you the most so far.